too, so that way we can post it. So some of the really exciting news that we have today about Ryok and the Ryok content is this upcoming Monday, correct, Jaira? This Monday, the 14th, we're doing the Ask Ryok live on YouTube. And I think we're doing that. Do we still do that at 6 or are we doing that at 3?
3. Well, we haven't established a time yet. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
I see. I think
at 4.
4. Oh yeah, because 4 works. Yeah, 4's in flow for you. That should work for me too. So I'm gonna just make sure my calendar for okay. Oh, it's open. Perfect. So we'll do that 4. So this upcoming Monday, which is gonna be the 14th, we're gonna be doing the Ask Ryok Q&A at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So during that time, you'll be able to tune in, and Ryok will be giving a free transmission where you can learn more about the Sasani, learn more about their culture, their teachings, and information from them that's applicable for you in your life. And we'll also have a Q&A portion of that where you'll be able to type your questions in, and then Ryok will address them. So there'll be an opportunity for you to interact with him. And that will be through my YouTube channel, which is Health Thyself. So we look forward to seeing you all on the YouTube channel, Help Thyself, Monday at 4 p.m. for the Ryok Q&A live. And also, too, today, if you stick around for the duration of this entire video, for those of you that are watching it live, we are going to be bringing Ryok through so he can talk a little bit about the upcoming event, which is called Playing with Polarity, that we're going to be doing on the 25th, and we're going to be doing that at 4 p.m. So that's another exciting Ryok event we have. So that's the 25th of September, 4 p.m. It'll be a Ryok transmission, Playing with Polarity, for $35. And today we're going to have Ryok come in so he can speak about that upcoming event. And then also we'll have him on here for a little bit longer, and we'll take 3 questions from the audience. So if you have a question you want answered, be sure to type it into the comment section. Yeah, so that's another exciting Ryok event we have. So that's, yeah, so good. It had to be said again.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm watching the comments.
Right. No, it happens to you. It's the thing with Zoom and streaming. It just pops up these open, these other browsers and stuff, and then your audio starts playing back. But no worries. So those are the 2 super exciting events. So we have the free transmission this Monday, 4 p.m. on Help Thyself, where you can ask some questions. And then we have our page transmission on the 25th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that transmission is called Playing with Polarity. So before we get into the channeling today, I just want to take a moment to talk about that transmission a little bit, because when these transmissions and their titles come through, oftentimes it will come through as like direct messages to me while I'm just going throughout my day and exploring whatever I'm exploring in my life. And I started having a lot of challenges coming up in myself that related to limiting belief systems. And one of the core of the Sasani teachings is to learn to let go of limiting belief systems that aren't positive and aren't, assisting you in a positive way. And the permission slips for Playing with Polarity, the upcoming transmission, are all about how to really connect to yourself, and specifically the different versions of yourself that use the negative belief system. So you can begin to, through talking to these other versions of you, right, that are believing in negative ideas, you can understand what those beliefs are so you can ultimately let them go. And I've been using the specific permission slips that will be coming through, I believe, on that transmission on the 25th. And they have been super powerful for very quickly being able to identify what the core belief system is related to like a certain behavior or a certain action that a person is experiencing or certain circumstances. So it can really help one to dial into the core of whatever the belief system is that's generating the life experience. So I find it's a great way to de-intellectualize belief system transformation. Because I know for a lot of people, attempting to identify beliefs can be a little challenging, right? Because it's like you're using your mind, which like holds the belief system, to try to find the belief system. So it can be a little challenging. So this process that we'll go through in the 25th is really imaginative. So you're sort of stepping out of the intellectual aspect of yourself, and you're using the imagination to uncover the beliefs. So I found it to be a really fun process, and very happy it came through.
I gotta say that what I love specifically about you, Tyler, is that you know how we all go through our process of integration, right?
Mhm.
And you being the channeler and channeling this guide, Ryok, and also talking about your own experiences, how you integrate. That's a lot of it helps. It helps seeing how the information, because reading or hearing the information is one thing, but actually doing it, integrating, and how we go about doing it, it's another thing. So having the channeler and the guide, and seeing both sides, how you're integrating, how you're doing your stuff, right? And while you're channeling the information too. So I think that's a plus. That's a plus, because you don't really get to see that much, I think, you know. So
Wow, thank you for that. And I really appreciate that, because I sort of have noticed the same thing too. Like I listen to a lot of different channelers, and I always would be like, who's the person behind the entity? Who's this person? Like, what's their life like? And I think I like to be really expressive about myself, because I felt with a lot of the other teachers I listened to, it's like you sort of just get their teachings and their guides' teachings, which are great. But I'm so curious, you know, about what someone's life is when they're in that type of channeling relationship with an entity. And I know for myself, if I don't use the information that I channel, it's almost like I don't get more information. Like the guides are like, why am I gonna like keep giving you stuff if you're not even, you know, using what you've been given? So I know for me, it's like of paramount importance that I use the material and the content that comes through, because not only is it synchronous for me in my own process and useful for that, but it's also like taking steps in the relationship, so then more can come through. And that's my favorite part about channeling these guys. Like they're very much like, it's almost like they're a running coach, and they're like a little faster than you, and they're like, come on, keep up, keep up. And they're like, I'm not going to stop. Keep coming with me. And it's like, you have to move with them, and then you get to, you know, run side by side. And that's how I've felt channeling the Sasani, which is really cool. They have, like, in my opinion, a vested interest in making sure like we're evolving. And it's like, if we're not dedicated to that, the ability to tune into them becomes, how would I put it, more and more challenging, as at least what I've noticed. If I'm not doing the work, channeling them can be challenging. But if I'm in flow and I'm doing it and I'm applying what I'm being given, then like more and more and more can come.
you're creating the space for more, right? By integrating, by releasing what's not you, belief system is not in accordance to your true essence. So you're creating more space to flow more and give more, right?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Another thing I want to touch on that you had brought up was during the event we recently did with Gita Rose, which was so exciting. It was called Hybrid Dream Camp. It was a 2.5-day adventure that was back in August, about 2 weeks ago. I had unveiled something about Ryok that related to how he expressed himself when I first channeled him. And when he came through, he actually used the name Ryok, R-Y-O-K. And I, over time, started saying Ryok, and then other people caught on to that. But I also wanted to just take a moment to make it known that the original pronunciation of his name, as it was given to me, was Ryok, so more of a Y than an I. But you can call him either. I go back and forth between the two different names all the time, because it's not necessarily his real name, right? His whole species doesn't use words anymore to express themselves. So like they don't have names. These words, right, that we call the name is really just a reference point. So we can be like, oh, we're talking to that being. Where in their culture, because they're all telepathic and understand the different frequencies of one another's energies, they go by the frequency, the feeling, instead of the name. So because we're still catching up to them, obviously, using names, but you can use either Ryok Ryok is fine, but I wanted to just take some time to really emphasize sort of the original way that that word came through. So
Yeah, personally, I would go with Ryo because I feel if you feel more resonance with it, I feel I can connect more directly through that. You know what I mean? Because it's just like pathways, right, to connect. Because I'm creating that energetic resonance through that because I'm believing that. So I personally will go with Ryok.
perfect, perfect. I like it. Oh, thanks for being on board. Great. So now that we've gotten all of our announcements taken care of, we can move into the channeling aspect of this. So Ryok will come through and we'll share a little bit about the upcoming transmission on the 25th, playing with polarity. And then we will take some time to address questions. We'll do 3 questions. And then if you don't mind, if you could pick the questions as people type them in, that would be super appreciated.
Yeah, we have some already.
Oh, perfect. I love it. Love how it's already there. All right. So I'm just going to make sure all of my devices are silent before I go in. Okay. Perfect. So I will dive in and allow him to speak, and then I'll see you all at the end of the conversation. All right, and we thank you all so much for the unique co-creation of this interaction. It is our civilization's highest joy to be able to speak to all of you and play with you in this unique way. We would like to begin this conversation with a little bit of elaboration on the upcoming transmission we shall be doing on your day of September 25th, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is titled Playing with Polarity. Now, as you know, you live in a reality that expresses the idea of dualism. Now, understand, it's technically, at its core, a trinary type of reality, but because of your perception within the physical reality experience, many of you experience it as binary, as dualistic. Inner, outer, up and down, masculine, feminine, dark, night, black, white, etc. The idea of dualistic themes. Now, many of you, when you experience duality in a very intensified way, not knowing about the trinary nature, the reality can feel a little bit boxed in. It can feel a little tight and can sometimes feel very up or very down, very fluctuating in its nature, less stable, less balanced. But when you can zoom out and experience the trinary nature of the physical reality, it forms a pyramid with a solid base, allowing for you to observe from that zoomed out point of view the perspective that represents the apex, the top of the pyramid. So you can then look down at the duality, the bottom corners of that pyramid, of that triangle, from the apex. the apex representing the higher self point of view, the neutral point of view, and the two bottom corners of the triangle representing the duality, the black, the white, the light, the dark, the yin, the yang, etc. One of the ways that you can begin to experience that higher self point of view, that apex perspective, is through aligning with the energy that you consider to be playfulness, excitement, joy, passion. And we understand that for many of you, you're already familiar with that information. However, in this transmission, Playing with Polarity, we're going to go over very specific techniques that can allow for you, in the face of that which you don't prefer, to instantly go into a state of celebration, a state of joy, thus allowing for you to elevate your perspective to that apex point. From the apex point, you then have the ability to play with the polarity, to play with the duality. And through playing with the dualistic qualities of the physical reality, using that apex perspective, you can then understand the underlying belief systems that create the experiences that you don't prefer, so you can very strategically learn to let those belief systems go. And it's going to be a very fun event, very playful. We are going to be able to get in touch with yourself in a new way, using your imagination, using your self-inquiry, using your creativity to really expand your perspective, to be at that apex point so you can see the bigger picture. Because as we say, without that apex point perspective, it's as if you are attempting to see the forest through the trees in your physical reality, and it can make it a little bit more challenging to really understand what the beliefs are that are generating your experiences. But from the apex point of view, those belief systems become clear, they become obvious, so you can learn to let them go, thus allowing for you to be in a position where you no longer have to create that which you don't prefer in yourself and in your life. Because again, all that you experience comes from your belief systems, first and foremost. Another aspect of this, again, to play with the idea of polarity here, is not only through this session will you be able to experience the letting go of the beliefs that you don't prefer, representing one level of polarity, non-preference. You will also be able, through the exercises, to experience the belief systems that represent the realities that you do prefer, so you can experience those realities more directly. So you can experience them more consistently in your life, in your experiences. So using the exercises from this transmission, you'll be able to very easily let go of that which you don't prefer at that belief system level, and you will also learn how to create that which you prefer from that belief system level. And we are so excited to be able to deliver this information to you, especially as you move forward in your year. For understand, things are going to accelerate for many of you as time continues, as you continue to move forward in a linear sense. And it has to do, again, with the idea of each of you splitting into your own unique parallel reality that is organized by your belief systems. And you will find that these tools will really assist you in guiding your unique parallel reality expression, so you can crystallize the utopian reality experience for yourself as you continue to accelerate along this trajectory that is individual and collective transformation. We thank each and every single one of you for your attention thus far in this conversation, and we shall now address some of the questions from the commenters. Let us now proceed with the cosmic Q&A.
Cosmic Q&A, that's so awesome. There was a question from Craig Moyer. He was the first one, but I can't find it anymore. So I'm sorry if you're watching, I don't see your question anymore. So will blockchain lead to another revolution in human society?
It has the capacity to lead to revolutions in certain areas, particularly in finance. Now understand, it's not the technology itself that leads to that transformation. It's you as a being. It's your energy. Now you can funnel that energy of yourself into certain technologies or certain types of innovations, and you can use those physical expressions to guide or catalyze the transformation energy you're building within yourself. So it can. It's all about if people choose to align with it. So understand, it has the potential to create that type of effect in some areas of society. We are detecting, in particular, in areas related to economics. It can create a great deal of transformation there. And it may begin at a smaller scale and will likely grow. But again, it depends on how your collective chooses to organize itself as time moves forward.
Awesome. Next question. Can you channel a hybrid child that is actively integrating here at this time, and how are they doing with the integration?
Can you repeat this question, particularly the beginning part? Are we being asked to channel a hybrid child right now?
I think so. Can you channel a hybrid child that is actively integrating here at this time?
Well, for this conversation, we will not be allowing a hybrid child to come through directly as we are through the channel. However, you have the ability to channel your own hybrid children, absolutely. Absolutely. Any frequency of consciousness that you have a relationship with can be channeled. All that is required is the frequency of that being. So if you can go into an imaginary state using your imagination where you are visualizing the hybrid child, the specific one you've mentioned who is going through an integrative process concurrently with your species, then you can, through the visualization, hone in on that unique frequency, thus allowing for you to amplify that frequency within your own body. And as that frequency becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, it will build up to such a point where it must express itself in some way because you can't contain it anymore. That might come through writing, it might come through painting, it might come through singing or dancing or speaking as the channel is speaking in front of you. And that is a way you can begin to channel hybrid children. But yes, if you have a relationship with your hybrid child and you're aware of their frequency, you can channel them. Simply amplify the frequency till you can't hold it anymore, then allow for yourself to express it, staying in that positive state with no expectation of what should occur, and just allow for yourself to play. And the hybrid child will come through if it is relevant in whatever way, shape, or form they need to in that moment.
Awesome. Oh, Craig posted his question again.
All right.
Some insight on the meaning of the fires happening in the West. What is the meaning beyond the surface?
In many ways, it relates to the idea of, again, transformation. Go figure, being such a big theme for all of you. However, we'll expand, so it's not as general. Right now, as you're already aware, your entire globe is transforming. The way that that plays out in a more localized level is the idea of transformation within communities, transformation within locations. The idea being that many individuals whom had previously gathered in major urban areas or cities are now leaving, so to say, these locations. They are traveling, they're going to new locations, forming new communities, new homes. And this is something that's occurring in many different locations. The fires in the West, in that sense, are reflecting the idea of that transformative energy, because there's many individuals that are actually feeling the pull to go to other places, and the fire in that sense can create a little bit more warmth, a little bit more motivation to follow that direction. So in many ways, it's reflecting the idea of the collective transformation, because as you know, fire transforms. It takes whatever it comes into contact with and will bring it to ash. It will transform it. So it in many ways is reflecting the collective community transformation process that is occurring within that area.
So we did the 3 questions.
Yes.
And so I just want to tell the rest of the people who ask more questions that you can post it again on YouTube live on Monday when we do the Ask Riok 1 hour. transmission.
Yes, we shall take more of your questions there. We will have more time to be able to explore and to play with all of you. We thank you for all of your wonderful questions, and we will take one moment to elaborate on a certain point that relates to, again, the fires in the West. Just as we have said, they reflect back to you your own societal transformation. If you desire to explore that transformative energy more, you can meditate upon the wildfires. Because they're not wild in the way that you think. It's not as if they're random. These are fires that are being guided by the planetary collective consciousness. It's organized transformation. It just appears wild and random to many of you because sometimes the fires cross paths with your own homes. So understand that through meditating upon the energy of the wildfires and wildfire in general, you can begin to allow for yourself to really experience in a very amplified way that fire-based frequency of transformation. And once you understand that frequency of transformation, that is very unique. The fire transformation is a very unique frequency of transformation. As you begin to understand that more, and you can understand it in the same way you understand a color, where you think of the color and all of a sudden you see it, you know it, get to that level of familiarity with the quality of transformation within the wildfires, and you'll find you can take that frequency and apply it to any area of your life that you desire to experience transformation within. It could be mental, emotional, physical, social, political. It's up to you. There's no real limit. But once you understand that frequency of transformation that the fires are teaching, you can download it, so to say. You can understand it in a very deep way so you can apply it directly. And it can allow for you to really transform a variety of different areas in your life, especially areas that you may feel really require that transformation and may have required it for some time. That wildfire energy can be of great assistance here. And we share that with you now as a parting gift. And we will see you all again in a new frequency of space-time on this Monday. And as always, our civilization's unconditional love, joy, and appreciation to each and every single one of you. And for now, pleasant dreams and sayonara.
Yay, awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, that was great. That was great. I love these Q&As, man. Doing this throughout the week is really nice. And maybe we can bring that back. If you want to do like those little 15-minute things, I would be about that, because these are great tune-ups. You know, I just get more and more in that state throughout the week. So I think we could do more of that.
I feel like a collaboration, like everybody, you know, have their different perspective and they come up with questions that I wouldn't think of, you know, and brings answers that you were asking, but not in that format, but it's answering your own questions. So I love them. I love them.
Yeah, they're great. I also love that wildfire thing. I was like, oh, that's a cool thing to pay attention to, because yeah, right. Imagine having the transformational power of a wildfire, but to use like in your life, you know, as it's needed. So I'm going to play with that, I think, quite a bit. But everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. It was great to have you here. Thank you for all of your questions. So again, we'll see you all this Monday, which will be the 14th. And that will be at 4 p.m. on Help Thyself. And we'll get into more Q&A. We'll get some more teachings from Ryok, and we'll explore more greatly into his world. And then we'll see you all as well on the 25th for the Playing with Polarity transmission, which I am super duper excited for. So enjoy, everybody. So much love for you all. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for joining. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.